Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I am Gina from Gina K Designs, and I'm so excited to see all of you here from all over the United States and all over the world. I'm looking at all the comments, people coming in from everywhere. And today is a fun day because Tom has a new piece of attire that he's going to share with you. Today we're going to have a lot of fun too because we're going to be making a fun holiday scene card using the brand new Joyful Holiday Kit, and we're going to bring back those Master Layout 6 dies to create some background scenery in our card. But how are you doing, Tom?
I am doing just fine.
Woohoo! Look at you.
Yeah.
You are looking good.
So this is my brand new Eddie Brothers Scottsdale from Marianne Denyard. Many thanks, Marianne, for sending this in and adding to my collection. We had a little bit of a had to work things out a little bit. We got the hat, and before that, Gina had been in touch, or Marianne contacted Gina and said, "Well, what size is Tom?" And Gina just kind of like giving it the due consideration, just threw out any kind of number.
I just said you had an average head.
Right.
I didn't know.
Underestimated the size of my ginormous skull. And so we took matters into our own hands, and we contacted the Bowman Hat Company, BOLLMAN hats.com, and Chris at Bowman Hats helped us out, and we ended up getting the proper size. Many thanks to Chris, and so we're good to go. It worked out great, and I'm just feeling good here. I'm thinking of playing some. Just makes me want to play that kind of stuff.
Well, Tom, the hat looks great and it fits great. They were super helpful in making that exchange for you. And Marianne did a great job of picking a hat that you loved. So you made sure that you were able to get the exact same one, and they were able to help. So that is awesome.
Yes. Oh, and that reminds me, just for fun, you should put this hat on.
Me?
Yes. I know it's going to be too big, but go ahead.
You want me to put the hat on?
You put the hat on. Just, I want to have some fun.
Okay.
See if this rings a bell with people.
Okay.
So.
All right. I've got the hat here. All right.
Folks, what do you think? What do you think? Deborah Winger in Urban Cowboy or what?
Oh my goodness. Does she have wild curly hair like me? I don't know. Do I have it on right? There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so much fun. I'm going to bring it back to you. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So again,
coming over.
Again, Bowman hats, if you're looking for kind of an interesting, fun, and high quality gift for the holidays, BOLLMAN hats.com. I think they're in Pennsylvania, and a whole lot of different things to choose from, interesting products, and so check it out. And thanks again to Marianne.
Fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're here for crafting, right?
We are here for crafting. Yes, we are. So
Country crafting.
I think now that Tom has the camera, it's going to be it.
All right, here we go.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, welcome back, everyone. That was so much fun. Tom, I love the hat on you. It was fun to try it on. And who did you say I looked like?
Deborah Winger.
Deborah Winger.
In Urban Cowboy, yeah, classic.
I don't even really know what Deborah Winger looks like. I'll have to Google that later.
You have to.
All right. Well, today we're going to be using the Playful Penguins stamp set from the new kit. I'm excited about this because we haven't done a card with this one yet. And then I'm going to bring back the Master Layout 6 dies. And there's a lot of dies in here. Now, I've been doing lots of cool card projects, making summer scenes with this set, but you can also use this same set to create a really cool winter scene. So we're going to do that today. And then these are the dies that came with the kit. So I think I'm going to use this little penguin right here holding the heart. He is so cute. So I'm going to grab the die for that. And let's see what other dies I'm going to need. So definitely going to want to use the hill because I'm going to want to do some snow hills. And then I think I'm going to do some snow-capped mountains in the background. And then instead of those happy little leafy trees, I'm going to do some pine trees instead. Now, with the pine trees, you can do them just like this and have them sitting on the ground, or you can also cut out these little trunks that actually go on this tree, but you can cover them up and just have the trunks sticking out at the bottom. So I think I'll do that if time permits. And then I think I'm going to cut my whole cardstock out using Master Layouts 1. I usually use Master Layouts 2 for a lot of cards because I like the stitching, but I want a little bit more scene, and this is a bigger die set. So Master Layouts 1 is a great one to use for scene building. Okay, I know a lot of you have Master Layout 6 and you're excited to see more scene types of cards. Okay,
Sorry, my mic was down.
Your mic was down?
Yeah, my mic was down. I don't know if it picked up when I was talking, but I think they got the gist.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know. I don't have any way to monitor that.
Yeah.
Okay, so did somebody tell you your mic was down?
No.
Oh, okay. Just realized it.
I was talking
pretty loud.
I was talking pretty loud, though.
Okay. So I'm going to start by cutting out a couple pine trees here, and I'm going to use some grass green cardstock. You can use any green you want. Fresh asparagus is a good one, too. Oh, good. Everybody's saying they could hear you fine, Tom. So that's good. That's great. All right. Maybe I'm going to cut one more just so that I have a little tree line. I don't know if I'm going to use them all, but I never mind cutting more trees than I need because then they're ready to go for other cards that I want to make. So I'll just cut two more out and we'll see what I'm going to use. Yeah, the Master Layout 6 is a fun one because it really does help you to create a lot of scenes. And it can be used year-round. Like I said, I made some summer cards. You can make autumn cards by making the treetops all different bright, warm tones. Or you can do spring cards, too, with like real light, bright, fun greens and stuff. Okay, so now the next thing that I'm going to do is cut out a little trunk. Now I want to see if I can find a scrap over here. So give me a second. Like I shouldn't have enough scraps, right? Where are all my browns? Okay. No scraps. Honestly, I know I have scraps somewhere. But what I'll do here is I will quick cut out a piece of warm cocoa cardstock. I guess I've been using warm cocoa a lot, so maybe I don't have any scraps. Okay, so we're going to cut this out. Actually, I will cut both tree trunks out at the same time. This way it'll save a little bit of time. I'm just going to cut the two little tree trunks. I'm only going to need the bottoms of these. And you could actually just cut a little rectangle too with your scissors. But since we have the dies, I'm going to use them. And I'll cut two more just in case I need them. So you can see that's what it looks like. And then I'm just going to pop the tree on top of that so that I just have the little trunk sticking out of the bottom. And again, you could totally do this just by hand for this part if you wanted to. But I got the die cutting machine out. Might as well go for it, right? Okay, welcome everyone. It's great to see you all here today. We are scene building with Master Layout 6 and the new penguin set from the kit. All right, so now it's time to cut some mountains. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use some Stormy Sky, and I'm going to cut First, I'm going to cut like a high mountaintop like this. So it's going to be, let me see if I can pull this up a little bit more so you can see this. So I'm going to have a lot of clearance here so that I can do my snow hills. I might even go up a little bit higher like this. So I'm going to cut that out first.
The new kit is still available, right?
Oh, yes. The new kit, I believe. I don't think it's sold out. If anybody knows, let me know. But I think we still have it. Now, what's cool about this die is you can cut it once, and then you can use both pieces to create different level hills. And we're going to accent those hilltops a little bit. So we're going to go with that. So I only needed to make one cut there. Now I'm going to get some white cardstock because we need to do a couple snow hills. So here's a piece of white cardstock. Is that going to be big enough? I think so. I think so, because we're going to cut these snow hills so they go all the way down to the edge. So we'll cut that. Doesn't need to be quite that high, because remember, we're coming in behind these mountains. So we'll cut one like that. And then we'll cut one off the other side, going in the other direction. Okay. So this one is going to come in from those snow mountains, kind of like that, right? So we need another one to come in the other side. Okay, so let's do that. We'll do that over here. That one can be a little higher. We can always trim off the bottom if we want less of a hill. Looks like everybody's loving your hat, Tom. Mm-hmm. All right, so I cut that one the same way. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cut one more. I have another piece here. I'm going to cut one that goes this way. I just did that, but maybe I cut it the wrong way. And once we lay all of this out, we can trim, we can do whatever we want. So here we have two that will intersect, right? Like that. And then if we want, we can add one more that would go this way, but I think those two are going to do it. Okay. So for these, I don't have to worry about cutting with my stitches because I'm using Master Layouts 1, and I'm going to cut that out now. So with Master Layouts 1, both of these rectangles look really similar in size, so just line them up by tapping the edge at the bottom together, and then you'll be able to see which one is the smaller one. So the smaller one, I'm going to cut out with a piece of white cardstock, doing a lot of cutting first.
Catherine wants to know what sandwich you use. I thought that was a question for me at first.
Oh, no.
You have to answer that. You go ahead.
So I basically, with the Spellbinders Platinum machine, I use the white plate at the bottom, and then it comes with two clear plates. And I put one clear plate down, then I put my die and my paper, and I put the other clear plate on top. I think it's one of the easiest machines to use. It's not complicated at all. I know some machines out there have all different kinds of plates and shims and things that you need to use. You don't need to use any of that with this. All right, so I have one more piece of black here. And I'm going to cut the larger of the two Master Layouts 1 using the black cardstock. Okay, lots of die cutting today. All righty. Yes, we could definitely use clouds for sure. Let's see what it all looks like first. And then if we want to add a cloud, we'll add a cloud. All right, so these two layer together really nicely. I've got a lot of dust from my plate. And then the whole thing I'm going to end up putting on a white piece of cardstock because This card's going to have a lot going on the card, and so I'm not going to do too much color on the background there. But I have extra pieces of white here if we want to cut some clouds. Now there is a sun die in this, but instead we're going to do a little stenciling today. So I think that's going to be kind of fun to mix die cutting with colored pencils for the penguin and then a little bit of stenciling. All right. So here is my piece of white cardstock that I'm going to use today. And the stencil I want to use is the Sunshine stencil. So let me get that out of my bag. And I'm going to need this to be kind of high up in the sky. And I want to do it just off to one side. Okay, so I just want to have it like way up on the one side. And the reason, I think I'm going to actually do it on this side, because what I want to do is I want to have the sun up here, kind of rays coming down this way. I want to have my penguin here and my greeting over here. And then I want my hills to actually come up over the sun. You see how that is? So I'll have my snow hills or my mountains, and then I'll have my snow hills coming in like this, and then I'll have my penguin, if that makes sense. So I just wanted you to kind of see what I'm going for here. And that's why instead of using the sun die, I just want to have the whole sky kind of radiating sunshine. All right, so to do that, we're going to need some ink. So I'm going to start with Wild Dandelion. Let me get my ink stand. And then I'm going to, now when I color this or when I stencil this, I'm definitely going to fade out before I get close to the edges here, because we don't want an abrupt cutoff. We just want it to kind of look like it's fading off into nothingness. Well, I'm not sure where the trees are going to go. The trees might go behind the penguin. So I'll look at that. Maybe I'll only need one tree. I just wanted to make sure that I had enough things cut because the machine was out. How does the Spellbinders die cut machine work with embossing folders? Oh, it works beautifully. They give you a blue plate that you use with your embossing folder. So you don't use any of the clear plates. You just put your embossing folder right on that big plate and then the blue plate on top. It's really a great machine. I love it. I've had this one for a while now, so I feel like I have a lot of experience with it, and I've really been enjoying it. Okay, so I started with my sun like that, and now I'm stenciling down here, but it doesn't even really matter. But I don't, just in case anything peeks through, I want to make sure that I do it. So I'm getting real light as I work my way out. I think that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to just leave that stencil where it is, and I'm going to use some Sweet Mango ink. Sweet Mango is a very yellowy orange compared to Tangerine Twist. So I'm going to use a little Sweet Mango, and then I'm just going to add that right around the perimeter of the sun to get it a little more orange. And that's just going to trail out a little bit onto the rays. Okay, and then there is my sun. So it kind of looks like it's just going off into nothingness. And they're not all even. I don't know if you can see that, but they're not all perfectly even. Okay, and that's kind of the way I want it. It's definitely the way I want it. All right, so we will take care of this stencil later. I'll put that in my to-do pile of cleaning. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do is figure out where we want the mountains. Let's see here. Now we're going to be trimming a lot off here, but we want these mountains to be nice and high in the sky. Because remember, mountains are tall, right? Okay. Now I want to do something to accent the mountains, and I want to make sure that they feel more wintry. So what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to try this. We'll see how it looks. If it doesn't look good, we'll trash it. But I'm going to get some white ink. This is the Gina K Designs white pigment ink. And I am going to start, let me move this out of the way so I don't damage that. I'm going to start with a little bit of, a little bit of embossing magic. I'm going to put that all over these mountains here. And then I'm going to use white pigment ink. Now I have a special brush that I use for pigment ink. I don't mix this brush with my other brushes. So if you're doing some inking with, pigment ink, I would suggest having separate brushes for your pigment ink versus your dye ink. And I'm not scrubbing back and forth because I don't really want to damage this pad. The foam pads can be a little bit tricky when you're ink blending. So I'm just smushing the brush down onto my foam pad. Okay, pigment ink always comes on foam. And now you can see what the brush looks like. It's like a different kind of ink. It's like wet and a little more clumpy. And I'm going to do some snow caps here on these mountains with this white pigment ink. You see how it's kind of, I don't know, you get that little bit of a brush stroke, so it's a little bit more gentle looking. It's not like, I don't know, it's not like you did it with a white marker or something. But I definitely want to make it whiter because I want it to look like snow. Now that looks pretty, right? But I want it to be a little bit whiter. So I am going to try embossing it and see what it looks like. Because this does kind of fade in a little bit to the gray and it starts to look like a lighter gray. So let's just see what this looks like. Oh, that's kind of cool, huh? Okay, let's emboss it. So we want these snow-capped mountains to be really white and snowy, but we want them to look not so perfect. See how it's kind of ridgy at the bottom? Kind of the way snow falls. It just kind of melts in certain areas. But let's get it nice and bright. Now you can also use our puffy white powder for more texture. It's more granulated looking. But because I haven't really tried this, I wanted to try it with the fine detail powder to see if I could get the detail in the snow, which I feel like that is just perfect. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let me put this back in here and we're going to do the other row of mountains. So we have a lot of mountain stuff going on in this. This is a mountainous region I'm creating. Okay, again, pressing the brush into the white. And if you prefer a more subtle look, you don't have to add the embossing powder. Some of you might prefer it, but I will tell you that once it dries, it appears a little bit more light gray than it does stark white. Now you can combat that by going over it with a second coat. But it's because we're brushing it on and we're not just doing a solid stamping that it kind of blends in a little bit. But I kind of like the brightness of this. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to mess with it too much. I'm going to go with what nature did with my hands here. Okay, let's get this out of the way because I have a feeling that I'm gonna mess something up with this powder loose. Okay, now remember we're gonna trim off the sides too. Yeah, I mean, even if you're just doing a winter card or you're doing a gnome card, I know a lot of you got the gnomes and you want to have the mountains and the gnomes to be snow-capped. There's a cool stamp in there, and then there's a stencil that you can stencil the white ink on top of. Then you could put embossing powder over it and give it that textured look of snow. Oh, I really like that. And again, I'm going to take pictures of all of this, so you'll be able to see up close exactly what this looks like. Okay, very cool.
How long does it take the pigment to dry?
The pigment ink, I would say about 20 minutes. Just let it sit for 20 minutes or so, and it should be dry. You can also help it along by heat setting it with your heat tool.
And do you clean the brush the same way?
I don't really clean this brush. I just leave it sticky and pigmenty all just the way it is. And this is my go-to white brush. It kind of sits by itself, lives alone. Okay. So now let's put these mountains here. You know what would be nice to do first? Let's add a little sea glass ink. Let me grab that. And we're going to do this really gently just to create a little bit of a blue sky. I know it's scary because we're going to go over the sun, but just a little bit. So I'm going to just come down real gently with the sea glass. Bring that into the sun just a little bit, not much. And my, I'm not blending it so that it's perfect, and that kind of creates cloudiness, if you can see that. Just the white spaces in between make it look like clouds a little bit. So it's not a perfect blend. Okay. And that'll help our mountaintops stand out a little bit more too. All right, so we want this to be nice and high in the sky, these mountains. So let me get my tape, and we'll tape that down. I'm not going to pop this up because I have things that I am going to pop up, and I think, it could start to get kind of thick. But if you don't have a lot of layers, Debbie, definitely pop it up because I think that would look cool. You're right. All right, we'll put this up here like that. And then we're going to get the paper cutter and we're going to trim off the excess. So we're going to do these one layer at a time. So all I'm doing is lining up the edge to the blade and then cutting off the excess. And if you're not sure where to line it up, remember this is 3 3/4 of an inch. So you can just go to that 3 3/4 of an inch mark. Cut that. And then it goes to 5 inches. So if like a little hair of stuff comes off like that, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. It's not going to change things very much. All right. So let's do another row of mountains here. We'll put them right there. This card is going to be a little thick. It's okay though. I know that looks crooked. It won't look crooked though once we get the snow hills on there. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're just going to trim off those sides. And if you trim off too much, then you can always trim your black panel to match, but I didn't, thank goodness. Okay, so now we're going to add our snow hills. And the snow hills are going to be in the front of the card. Like that. But let's use a little gray ink. So let me find, do I have a gray blending brush? I have a black blending brush. So let's see what's on this blending brush. If you're not sure if you've got a lot of black or something on your blending brush, definitely get a piece of paper towel and you can just see what color was on there, because once the bristles get stained, they're stained. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's okay. It won't transfer as long as you brush most of that off. So I'm going to use soft stone and I'm going to just create a tiny little bit of an edge there just so that you can differentiate between the two snow hills. So just very lightly, just adding a little bit onto the edge. Now, the mountains behind there are gray, so you're not really going to see it so much at the top, but you're going to see it more where it overlaps the other mountain. You see how you can kind of distinguish that a little bit better? go. And I think I'm going to make this lower one be the one in the front. Everybody doing well today? It's beautiful here today. The sun was out. It had been a little gray, starting to look a lot more like fall, but all of our leaves are changing. And I hope those of you that live in a climate similar to me are getting a lot of that beautiful color now. Okay, so we're going to put this one here. And again, I'm kind of going off of the sides and the bottom. I'm going to trim it. Come down even more. Yep. And then this one, I'll bring across like that. It's gloomy where you are? Okay. I want to make sure I have enough room for my greeting over here. I don't know what greeting I'm going to use yet, but I might use Winter Wishes and pop it right there, like that. I could also do Hope Your Holidays Are Cool and pop it right there. Or you can use a strip sentiment, whatever you want. All right, now I'm going to trim these off. I love these little scene cards. I just think they're so fun to make. Take a look at that. Looking good. That's a lot of layers there. I could use a bigger paper cutter for this job, but we're going to make it work. And the last piece over here. Okay, so hopefully that looks pretty good. And I think it does. There's our winter scene. So you're in Florida? Yeah, I know, I love Florida. I'm not going to lie, I love Florida. But this time of the year, I really do kind of enjoy having that, the seasons. Yeah, so we could put these like in here, and then we can pop the penguin up in front of these. So there can be some little trees in there. So let's just get the backings on these trees. All we really want is the little stick to come out of the bottom. So we can have that here. I got my dirty, gluey fingerprints right here. So I'm going to use the Tim Holtz craft pick to get rid of that tape right there. There we go. And if you have an issue, you can always use a mono sand eraser to get rid of anything that shouldn't be there. Okay, that looks better. Let's erase that out too. Okay, I'm being very picky. I'm sure you guys probably can't even see it because of the video, but you'll see it up close. So I'll put a little tree there. This is so fun. These scene cards are great too. If you have kids or grandkids, they love these little cards. They're just so cute. So we'll get one tree there. And then we'll put this little trunk behind this one. We'll just do 2 trees because I don't want to get in the way of the sunshine. That is not in the center. I want it to be in the center. There we go. Like that. Can also, if you want, you could, before you put that on, you could slip them down into the hole too, or cut it on an angle so it looks like it's coming out of that little hill. Let's see if we can do that, see what it looks like. So I'm just going to cut it on a little bit of an angle like that, and then kind of pop it there so it looks like it's coming out of the hill. See that? We could do that with this one too. Let's do it. Can we pull this one up still? Yeah, we can. Let's cut this on an angle. Maybe this one, the shorter one, we should put here. My angle was bad. Maybe like a flatter angle. Put this one here. And maybe put this taller one. Oh, that'll work. It's not really taller there, but you guys get the idea, right? We have this one. Boy, that's a steep angle. Soon I'll have no trunk left. There we go. They can overlap a little too. Isn't that cute? So they're coming up. I do need snow on the trees. You're right. But what if the snow was only up at the elevations? And no, see, because it's all here. All right, so should we add a little snow on the trees? Should we be brave? My goodness, I'm a little nervous. How could we do it? We could brush a little white on with a mini blending brush. Let's try that first. Let's try putting a little snow on the trees. Guys, I'm experimenting with you. So I'm just popping this baby blender. That works. I'm just brushing it down onto the trees. I need a little more tape behind this guy. Maybe I didn't even put tape behind him. Okay, so now they're a little bit more whitish. Does that work for everyone? Okay, works for me. We could do the embossing powder on here, but I'm a little nervous to do that because now I'm already, in the middle of the card. But if you guys do it, try it with the embossing powder. You don't have to attach it to your card until afterwards, but let me know how it looks. Okay, so is this guy gonna fit? Yeah, he's gonna stand right in front of one of those trees. And then we'll put the greeting. Let's use Winter Wishes. I love this greeting. Okay, now I'm nervous because I did all this work and we're going to put the greeting on. And you know how that goes, right? Everybody in here is going to hold their breath. But not as much as I am. But I'm using my Misty to be safe. All right. So we'll get the greeting on there first and then we'll mess with the penguin. So we'll do Winter Wishes. And that's a nice generic type of greeting. If you don't know who you're going to send this to, it might be somebody that doesn't necessarily celebrate Christmas. Or you might just want to send this card to somebody just as a winter card. That's what I love about Winter Wishes, having that greeting in my collection, because for some reason, it's like if Christmas is over, it's not winter anymore. And if you live in Wisconsin, you know that's not true. You can send winter cards all the way to May. Okay, I've got it. I'm worried about that. I got to clean that up. Let me get my tidy towel. And this is the first time I'm inking up my Winter Wishes stamp. So I might have to stamp it more than once. You know how that goes when it's a new stamp. Okay, so wish me luck. Here we go. I'll use my Chucky tool to be safe. Okay, so we'll stamp it one more time. I have so much stuff on my desktop that I can't even get my Misty flat. We're just gonna focus right in that little area there. There we go. That's cute. Okay, so now we're gonna put this aside. This is gonna go onto my black panel. And then the whole thing's going to go on that white card base. But we've got some penguin work to do. So that's even cute just like that, right? Without the penguin, it's just a little winter scene. So that's fun. And you could decorate these too. If you have little red sequins or rhinestones, you could decorate the trees and make it more Christmassy. Okay. Now let's stamp the penguin and get a piece of white cardstock because we're going to have to cut this little guy out. Here's a piece of white cardstock. And I want to do the one holding the heart. And I don't know if you saw in this stamp set, there is an envelope here. If you die cut that envelope, you can pop it over the heart on this guy, and it looks like he's holding a little envelope. Or you can die cut the little mug of cocoa, and it'll look like he's holding that. So there's lots of ways that you can kind of replace. You could even just take a little blade and cut out his little hands there, and then slip your die cut piece in there. So lots of options with this kit. Why did I think that would fit? But it does kind of. Our blocks, if you've ever used our comfort blocks, they do a little curve on the edge because they're beveled. So we'll see if I get a good impression. If not, I'll go up a size. These are the most comfortable blocks in the world to hold. And they've got that little indentation, so you're less apt to drop it. Sandy, no, I never talk to myself when I'm crafting without you guys, but I really, really feel like we're all together right now. So I think that's why it's easy for me to do it, because I feel like we're all together. Okay, so there he is. That was a good impression. I did Google last night. I was laying in bed looking at penguins, and I found out that penguins have orange feet. Sometimes they have gray feet. Sometimes they have purplish feet, like an eggplant color. And same with their beaks. Their beaks come in all different colors too. So you can do whatever colors you want. Now the Prismacolor pencils I have today are black. Use black. I've got crimson red. I decided to go with the orange feet and the orange beak. So I have orange. And then I have 30% cool, 50% cool gray. 50%. I also have 30% warm gray. So the warm gray is really pretty. The cool gray is too, but they're very different. So it kind of depends on whether you want it to favor brown a little bit or you want it to favor blue a little bit. I don't think it matters for the penguins. So whatever you have, use. Okay, we're going to go a little closer here. So I'm going to first start with his little body here. And I'm going to color dark, like under his arms. And we'll color dark in here. Like anywhere that's under, where there's something kind of hanging over, I'm going to go with the dark. Color accent underneath here. There we go. And then the little sides of his face right here will be black as well. Okay. And also here, we'll do this black right here. And we'll bring that down. So not to get technical because I can't, because I don't know what I'm doing. But if I were getting technical, basically what I'm saying is like the hat would maybe cast a little shadow. So you want it darker toward the top there. And then as it comes down, you would see like the light would hit it better. So it would be a little lighter. That's the extent of my technicality. All right. So I have a blending stump here and I'm going to dip it into some Gamsol. If you don't have Gamsol, you can use any artist grade odorless mineral spirits. You can use lavender spike oil. You can use Zest It if you're in the UK. I'm just going to bring that down like that. I'm going to work that down. And then fill that in. So this is just kind of, I said it melts the wax in the pencil, but that wasn't accurate, and somebody told me I was wrong. I shouldn't have said melts. So what I will say is it breaks down the wax. It doesn't actually melt it, but it kind of feels like it melts it. So kind of feels melty. But somebody that knew what it really did told me that it breaks it down. It doesn't melt it. So you see how that's kind of getting lighter as it goes out away from his belly there. Yeah. And I'll take really good close-up pictures. I'll post it on Facebook, Instagram, and also on YouTube on the community tab. So if you're watching on YouTube, if you subscribe to my channel, which I would love you to do, you'll get a notification anytime I post anything, like a picture or a new video comes out, anything like that. Okay. So now we're going to do some red here. And for this one, I'm going to just go right around the perimeter of the heart and make it real light as it gets toward the center. Sticking with the heart instead of doing like a coffee mug or an envelope today, because I've really been talking a long time, and you guys can always add more of the details yourself. Okay. Now, let's color that in. I have a different blending stump here. I have a couple of them out just because I'm working with some different colors. And I'm going to work that color toward the center. See, I'm just going around and around. And I'm going back over it to make sure it's smooth. There we go. Okay. I really like Gamsol. I guess you guys know that by now. I'm a big Gamsol fan. You know what? And I do want to add one more color to this mix. I think it could stand a little turquoise in here.
What is Gamsol?
What is Gamsol? Gamsol is an artist grade odorless mineral spirits. And what it does is you don't want to use it with watercolor pencils. You want to use it with colored pencils that have wax in them because it breaks down the wax in the colored pencil. Thought I went outside the lines, but I didn't. I broke my pencil point a little bit. And I am sharpening these pencils. You may have heard that. I like a really sharp point when I'm working. Okay, and let's alternate colors here. We'll do a little bit of red here. And we'll kind of add some turquoise in between. So I'll put the turquoise there. I'll do the red in the center stitching. And this is a ridiculous amount of like detail. You don't have to do this. You can just color the whole thing one color if you want, and it'll look great. But just for the fun of it, let's have a little fun. Okay. So back to my red blending stump. I'm going to turn this around here. It'll get lighter as it goes to the top. Okay. This is fun. I'll tell you, I know that it takes a lot to kind of do these kinds of cards where, you know, you're taking your time and you're coloring, and, you know, they might not be the ones that you want to mass produce, but these are the ones that you want to give to those special people in your life, like your grandchild or your daughter, your son, your husband, you know, one that you've worked quite a bit at their card worthy, right? Maybe not. Some people are, some people aren't card worthy. Okay, so now I'm going to go back in with that turquoise, and I'm thinking I'm going to go with the lighter turquoise color, and I'm going to color in the opposite stripes. And then I'm going to do the hat too with the opposite. I know it's not perfect, my spacing here, but.
What about his arms?
His arms? I'm going to do his arms. I'm going to do his arms black. We're getting there. And then same thing here. We'll start up at the top here. Probably should have done it the other way, but again, it's stamping. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. Now I have another end of that same blending stump because I don't want to get red in this color. So I'll just bring that color down. Now, if you want to go more traditional, you can go with the, red and green instead. But I always feel like a little bit of turquoise always makes everything feel like cooler, like more wintry. Fun. Okay. That works. Now let's do his arms. So we'll make his arms black. We'll start here at the top. We'll see if that's enough. If we need more color, we'll go back and add it. So I have my black end of my blending stump. It still looks like black, even though it fades to gray. It just gives you dimension when you blend that out to real light. You still know it's black. Okay, so now let's add a little bit of that gray. We'll do a little gray here. Gray is a great color to mix with parts that are meant to be white. I feel like it still looks gray, but it gives you a little bit of dimension there. So I'm using the cooler gray. This is the 50% cool gray. I'm going to go up under his hat with the cool gray to kind of create a little bit of a shadow. Now don't worry about coloring this way. You can just color any way you want. But if you want to practice coloring a little bit, and I'm always trying to practice my coloring, you can kind of play off of some of these ideas. Or you can watch somebody who really knows what they're doing. All right, I'm going to do the same thing under here. I'm going to put some gray right under the heart and under his little arms, and then work my way down. Same blending stump, the gray one. I just think Gamsol makes you look more like you know what you're doing even when you don't. That's why I'm a big fan. I'm going to add a little gray right at the bottom here too. Just work that in. Here we go. So, can you guys see that? Kind of pretty, cutie. And then, of course, we need a beak and we need feet. So let's go with the orange. We'll start dark orange right at the top and darker orange right here. That is a vibrant orange. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the same blending stump that has the gray on it, and I'm just going to sand that off, that color off. And then I'm going to use that same blending stump. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have 3 or 4 blending stumps, just like it doesn't hurt to have a couple of blending brushes. Those little webbed feet. Oh, that's so cute. Okay, so there's my little guy. Now it's going to be time. Now, you guys, you know, you've got your glitter, you've got your stickles, all your fun glitter pens and everything. You can glitter him up and make him more jazzy for the holidays, or you can keep him just kind of soft and cuddly looking for a winter card. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a little guide to cut this out. I know it's getting late, but we don't have much more to do. I'm going to make a little guide here to cut it out because I don't want to mess him up now that I put all that work in. So if you're new to my channel, you may not have seen this before, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and I'm going to cut out the die, the plain die right there first to make a little guide. Then let's back out just a hair so you all can see this. Okay, so now I have the little guide here. I'm going to cut this out. And I'm going to cut this out. And then what I'm going to do is, using a little bit of tape, I'm going to align this so I get a nice even white space around the entire little guy. Because I don't want it to cut like that, you know, or I want it to be as perfect as it can be now that I went through all this work. Somebody's going to win this card today. So the way you win, if you're new to my channel, the way you win is just by leaving comments. And then we randomly choose a comment and that person wins the card of the day. Sometimes I do more than one, so sometimes we have more than one winner. That looks pretty good. It's a tight die. I like them when they're a little tighter like this, but it's always just a hair more nerve-wracking when you're trying to cut them out. So I'm taping that whole thing down, both pieces, to the die cutting machine. And now I'm going to take the die and I'm going to pop it into the hole. I can feel it drop in. And then to be extra safe, I'm going to tape it right on top. Now, of course, another way to do this is just go ahead and cut it out before you color it and go through all the work. This way you don't have to have a heart attack during this part like I'm having. That works too. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Why didn't you think of that, Tom?
I did, actually.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for your help. Okay, so now he's cut out really nice and centered. And now we're going to pop him on the card. And I know some of you are saying, oh, pop up this, pop up that. Definitely, you're right. Something needs to be popped up. So let's pop him up on the card. Let's put the card together first. And then we'll be done. Ooh, 2 minutes to go. Plenty of time. I'm digging this fun little card. It was fun to make. And then this panel will go on to my white card base. I don't use Master Layout 6 enough. And that's because I'm always doing techniques and stuff, and I don't get enough scene building in, but it is so fun. So now we can just pop him right up in front of that tree, like that. And we could move the trees over if I had the guts. Do I have the guts? No guts, no glory, right? I'm getting the guts. Cut this even steeper. Bring this tree down here. Bring this tree over a little bit, maybe overlapping like that. And then we can put him right there so we get to see a little bit more of the trees. Like that. Okay, that was gutsy, but especially when it's somebody else's card and not mine. I'm going to use 2 foam squares for this. Put one at the top of him and one at the bottom. And then get the liners off and pop him in place. I do want to see that little trunk of that tree there. So there we go. Winter wishes. Okay, so there's a fun little scene. I hope you guys like that. That was so much fun to make. I will put another foam square right here to get him tacked down. Or if he's sticking up weird, we can always just put a little tape in there and tape him to the tree, and that'll hold him down in place. There we go. That works too. You can see that little bit of dimension there that the foam squares created. Okay, well, what'd you think? Do you like it? That's so fun. I'll zoom in a little bit. And Tom, where are you? You wearing your hat? Oh, good. You look great. I love it. Okay, so who is going to win our cute little penguin card today?
All right, the winner is Cindy Adair. Cindy Adair.
Yay, Cindy! Congratulations, Cindy. Woohoo! All right, Cindy, so what you have to do is you have to send your name and address to info@ginakdesigns.com and let them know that you won the penguin card, and I will get that right out to you. All right, everybody. Well, this was so much fun today. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you learned a couple little things and you'll try some of these fun techniques like making embossed mountains, things like that. We will be back on Monday with another live video next Monday night. I'm going to try to get another 5-minute card video up for the weekend. So hopefully, if I have time, I will definitely do that. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week and a great weekend. Thank you so much for everybody joining us this week. We love seeing you. We love spending time with you. Tongue-tied. All right, everybody. Have a great one. We love you all so very much. Mwah! And we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.